In example 3, we're going to do it backwards. You're given the graph of the inequality, and you have to write the inequality out. So first off, notice it's a vertical line. So it's X instead of Y. We're shading. I'm going to say, for the colored part, this gray is our shade. Since it's to the left of my vertical line, it's less than or equal to. In this case, it's less than or equal to 2. If you think the green is the shaded region, then you would say X is greater than or equal to 2. Not that much difference there. On example 4, I suggest pause the video, see if you can do this yourself, then come back. On example 4, we're going to solve this inequality just by looking at the graph. So if I look at my graph, notice it's a dashed line, so there's no line. Well, it's multiple choice. None of these have a line underneath the inequality. I am to the right. I am going through 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's either C or D. Now, well, it's got to be D, doesn't it? We don't have any other choice because it's greater than 4, and you're shading to the right because it doesn't go through -4. That one turned out to be pretty simple. Now let's take a look at example 5. Let's read through this together. Here's an application. It says, Ranajan writes and edits short articles for a local newspaper. It takes him about an hour to write an article and about a half hour to edit an article. If Ranjan works up to 8 hours a day, how many articles can he write and edit in one day? Well, let's define our variables. I'm going to say let X, not Lex, let's let. Whoops, there we go, one more. Let X stand for the articles he writes. And let Y stand for the articles he edits. Now notice on this one, they threw a little curveball at you. That is, they measured the way he writes them in half hour there. Actually, I take that back. Everything's in hours. We're good to go. So it takes him 1 hour to write an article. So that'll be 1x. It takes him a half hour to edit an article. So I'll say 1/2 y. And he works up to 8 hours. Not more than, but up to 8 hours. So I'm going to say less than or equal to 8. I think on this one, let's use the intercepts. And notice I gave you a hint on the graph. He can't do negative articles or negative work. So everything's going to be positive. So for your x-intercept, remember when you do your x-intercept, we make y 0. So that one works out really nice. X equals 8. For our y-intercept, we're going to make x 0. So we have 1/2 y equals 8. Or multiply both sides by 2. Y equals 16. So we're going to graph on my x-axis. That will be the articles he writes. I'm going to go over 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On your y-axis, we need to go up to 16. So I think what I'm going to do on the y-axis, let's count by 2s. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. And we know our y-intercept is 16. So I'm going to go up 16 on my y-axis. And I'm going, since it's less than or equal to, I'm going to draw a solid line. Now, which side are we going to shade? Well, let's pick our test point. Which will be 0, 0, because 0 is not on your line. So we get 0 plus 1/2 times 0 is less than or equal to 8. So we end up with 0 is less than or equal to 8. That's true. So we're going to shade the side of our graph that has 0, 0. So we're going to shade below this line. So anything in the shaded region is what he could do in a day. And I should label my graph. So we're writing articles. That's where we're measured in. On the x-axis, we're editing articles on the y-axis. Always label your graph. And there you have it. Now I suggest we're going to stop this video, do example 6 in your study guide, then click on the next part of the seminar.